And thanks to those joining us here live, and those will be joining us on the archive. I'll be joined by Lyndon here from Boxing Deep Dive. Here's the one and the only still. All right. And make sure you subscribe to Boxing Deep Dive. A lot of great boxing, coverage. He does the walk-in boxing and all that good stuff. So make sure you guys check that out. He does lives, he uploads videos, and you can follow him on Instagram under that same handle, Boxing Deep Dive. How's it going, Lynn?
Yeah, good, mate. Really good to be back on. I think it's been a couple of months, hasn't it? So good to get an invite to come back on.
I got that Texan. I think I said Lyndon. You know what I mean? But
Lyndon. Yeah.
Got that little Texan accent on for a little bit there. But look, quite a lot to cover. I want to start with this. It's I don't see it like it's not like a big deal. It kind of tells you how much Andy Ruiz has fallen off, former unified heavyweight champion of the world, and he reunited with the guy that he made that magic with, Manny Robles, and it's crickets. Like Manny Robles shared it on his social media, and like I don't see it. I don't see it on boxing scene. I don't see it anywhere. If this was a couple years ago, it probably be a bigger story, but it kind of tells you how far off Andy has fallen. But a lot of people are saying, yeah, that's good to see, but a little too late. A lot of people don't think Andy can really make a comeback. But what do you make of it, Lynn?
I don't know. I must admit, it's been like for me, Andy Ruiz, who in the last sort of few years, hasn't it? I mean, I know what's it been? It's been over a year, I think, since he's had a fight, had the draw on the Crawford Madrimov card. But look, I mean, Matty's a great trainer. Had some fantastic results, and if that is the case, it's good to see them back together. But I must admit, I really don't care. Just Andy Ruiz. I mean, hey, he had that great win over Anthony Joshua. But really, what has he done since? And I think we've moved on. I think the division's moved on. I think all the fans have moved on. I just think he's a forgotten guy, and I just don't see him getting back. And to be honest with you, as I said, I really don't care.
It is hard to care, in fairness. I mean, this is the guy who it was such a big deal when he won the world title. First of all, it was a big upset. I think it was like a 21 to 1
massive
underdog. Nobody expected that. And not only did he win, he stopped AJ, and he won after coming back and it devastated. Like he got knocked down. It looked like AJ was going to have an easy night, and then he hurt AJ, and then he ended up just stopping him. The ref stops it. I forget. I think it was like was it round 6 or 7?
Yeah.
And Andy's on top of the world, and then he was basically the modern day Buster Douglas. I mean, he just celebrated a little too hard, and the only difference that he actually lost to the opponent he took it from, and he got outboxed by AJ when he came in. Like, I know he's never been look, I never expected Andy Ruiz to come in looking like Mr. Olympia, but he came in that rematch looking like he ate Andy Ruiz, right? It's like, what are you doing? And AJ just boxed circles around him, and he couldn't catch up to him. How could he, right? It was just kind of embarrassing, actually. And I think that was one of the first big fights in Saudi Arabia. And now that I'm thinking about it, and look at where we are now in Saudi. But he falls out with Manny Robles. Manny Robles did say he wasn't training the same anymore. He wasn't showing up, and which is crazy to me. But I guess he accepted him back. We'll see where it goes. I mean, I think it is too late, though.
Yeah, and the thing with Andy Ruiz, why I don't really, as I said, care too much about it. This is the guy who, hey, he fought the fight of his life against Anthony Joshua. It was a great win, big upset, and he makes it. He wins the belt. Then what do we see from him? He turns up in that rematch in embarrassing condition, doesn't really fire a shot during the fight, and hasn't really fired a shot since. A lot of talk, no action. I'm just one of these, I suppose, fans. I'm sure a lot of viewers are out there the same. I'm sick of all the talk. I'm sick of all the back and forth. I'm sick of this is going to happen and this is going to happen and this might happen. Just do it or shut up. This is where I'm at the moment. I mean, these guys, they fight once every year, once 18 months, some even 2 years. I'm just over all these types of fighters who pretty much disrespect our sport by the way they treat it. And Andy Ruiz is almost top of the list as far as a guy who had it all, had so much to give and has pretty much shit on the sport since he won the world title. So that's why I have no sympathy for what he's going through. Well, not that he's going through anything, I know, but his career sort of stalling. Look, if he has decided to get back with Manny Robles, that's great because he's a great guy, great trainer, and has done some great things with him. But these type of fighters, I don't really spend too much time thinking about them anymore because they don't deserve it. They disrespect the sport and us fans by the way they treat it. So why should I care what he gets up to? So I hope he's good. Yep. Hope he comes back. But again, there's plenty of other fighters to move on with at the moment, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, you know who called it, and he even said this after he beat Joshua, was Bob Arum. He's like, we got rid of him because one night he'll show up and he'll be one of the most dangerous heavyweights in the world, and then the next fight, I mean, he's super. Again, I'll repeat. I know people are gonna say he's always been fat, but he's fatter than he usually is, right? A little too many Vegas buffets for Andy Ruiz, and like there's guys that are so good at gambling, like they're so good at blackjack, they count cards or they kick them out of the casino, right? I think Andy Ruiz, got kicked out of the casinos for eating too much food at the buffet. They just got rid of
I didn't know that.
No, but I don't know that's true, but it sounds true, right? And one of the most to me, it was just embarrassing as a Mexican American. It was just embarrassing how, not that he beat Joshua, I thought that was great, right? And it was a big deal for the sport. Like everyone knows, Mexicans have been a big part of the sport, and all the way from minimum weight to like all the weight classes that we've had Mexicans, whether it's from Mexico, Mexican Americans have had a world champion, but he was the first at heavyweight to do it. Right. And that's why it was such a big deal. It was massive. He was invited, by the president of Mexico over there. He was just treated like royalty over there. And then he turns around and he eats himself into oblivion. I don't know. It was insane. I still remember how disgusted I was. It was the only time I changed. I thought he was going to win the rematch, but I changed my pick when I started seeing Andy Ruiz being introduced to the Saudi Prince by Eddie Hearn, and he's asking Andy to show the Saudi Prince how to eat tacos. And Andy Ruiz is just, he's destroying these tacos in front of the Saudi Prince. Now, here's a heavyweight champion of the world eating in front of the Saudi. I didn't get it. Like, you know what I mean? And there was another time. It was the early red flag. They had this parade for him or whatever, and they're bringing him all these pizzas, like all these fans bringing him pizzas, right? And he's opening box after box, and I'm just like, what are you doing, bro? And he's saying to himself, yeah, my fans, they love me. They're bringing me all these pizzas, so I got to eat them because they brought them for me. And I'm like, bro, you did it to yourself, bro. Like you ate yourself into becoming the target. And it is what it is.
And it's frustrating too, because he had so much to give. This is the problem. I got no dramas that he lost the rematch to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was a very, very good fighter and had a really good reign as a heavyweight champion, but it's his whole approach afterwards. There was some big fights out there for him. Deontay Wilder was there for him. Maybe, rematch with Joseph Parker. We had Usyk coming through. And I know these days we might have the Otamas of the world coming up and maybe a Wardley or whoever it might be. But, he's yesterday's news. And I suppose this is probably why I sound frustrated about him, because he had so much still to offer. So many big fights he could have had. Even the fight last year with Big Baby, it was a draw. Didn't look too bad. And we've heard nothing from him since. So it's like the sport moves on very, very quickly. And I just think he's part of that Deontay Wilder sort of group that is just, they're gone. And the new batch of fighters are coming through in the heavyweights. And we've even seen it with just a couple of weeks ago with Canelo and Crawford. Canelo will probably be forgotten pretty quick as well. I hope not, because he's a great fighter and a legend. But what I'm saying is that, again, the sport moves on really quickly and the new wave are going to overtake him. So it's the way it is.
That's just the way it is. Everything moves quite quick, and Andy Ruiz, it's, again, he reunited with the trainer that he won the heavyweight championship with. and nobody cares. Like
Nobody
I'm only
cares.
talking about it because I ran into it today. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
that's about it. So we'll see how it goes with Andy, and hopefully they can keep the stickers out of his hand, and you know
I'm
what I mean?
sure
Like,
I'm sure he's doing okay for money, so I'm sure he'll still be able to afford those big buffets in Vegas anyway.
yeah, yeah. And great fight with Parker too. That was a really good heavyweight fight. So I mean, I don't know what happened to Andy Ruiz, but well, I do know, but I don't know why he let himself. You know, so Buster Douglas 2.0, in my opinion, the Mexican Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
But that was another one. I mean, it is what it is. So, well, why do you think that is, Linda? Why is it that there's certain guys that they reach the mountaintop, and a lot of times it's when like maybe they didn't expect to get there, and they don't know what to do when they're there, right? Like they can't function as a hunted. You know, they just fall apart. Like that happened to Douglas. It happened to Ruiz. It happens to a lot of guys. Look at Teofimo. Like he beat Loma, then he just fell apart by his next fight.
Yeah, I just think it's probably just like in life, I suppose. People handle different situations better than others. And maybe it was a case of with Andy Ruiz, maybe he got everything that he wanted in life. He won the heavyweight title, and maybe that was just enough. And maybe he didn't really have the drive after that to make it his career and really get serious about it. I mean, you can't force people to be serious about the profession. We all sit out here as fans and go, geez, why? How could you not be serious about it, earning all that money and all the big fights? But maybe that was his Super Bowl, was winning the belt, and after that it was just hard. And someone like a Teofimo Lopez, I just think he got way ahead of himself with Loma and didn't or underestimated the latest rendition of the Thunder from Down Under in George Kambosos, who just surprised him. George Kambosos took the fight 100% seriously, and Lopez didn't. It just happens. Buster Douglas, I think, fought the fight of his life against Mike Tyson, and they could fight another 10 times, and probably Mike would have knocked him out each and every time. But on that particular night, it all just went his way. So, I mean, as I said, it's just life in general. Some people are more motivated than others. Others are, the goals are different to others. And maybe, as I said, that was the Super Bowl for Andy Ruiz, and he just hasn't been able to get his motivation levels back on track. And the fact that he's a big guy, doesn't have to worry too much about his weight. We all even sort of make fun of the fact that he's such a big guy and he's so fat, I suppose, if you want to call him that. And he just hasn't been able to get the motivation levels back. And that's why I just don't think we'll see him back again. And I don't think even Manny Robles could bring him back, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it is heavyweight division, so we'll keep tabs on that. So, Tszyu, you know, I have so many thoughts about this, and I mean, I've given my thoughts on it, but I just want to point some stuff out. Sometimes when people talk, like I just feel like less is more sometimes with communication and PR. And I just think Tim, this is my opinion, is doing too much. Now, let me first say this. I want what's best. Like I'm still a fan of Tszyu. I want him to be successful. I want him to reach the mountaintop. Even if I have my doubts, I still want him to do it. I want him to be world champion again. I want him to be one of the top fighters in the sport. I wish him nothing but the best. Right? I just don't really understand the way he's going about things right now. Look, fighters change management all the time. They change trainers all the time, but they don't make a big fuss about it like this. Like they just don't. It's and he's contradicting himself. The more and more he's talking, contradictions are coming out, and I'm catching them. Right? One hand, oh yeah, like first of all, he says that he was thinking about switching management since before the Harrison fight, or switching teams. He said, to be more specific, right? And like before that, like what? Like okay, now I'm I don't know. And then he brought up remember the pit bull thing, the dog that bit him.
Yeah.
I get it. And I remember even me at the time, if I'm honest, I had said, I don't even know why he's still fighting. Like that's crazy, but he's doing it. But I remember like that's something that people liked about Tim, and like, holy shit, he's gonna fight even though he got bit by a dog or whatnot. Right. But one interview, I get to be my own boss now. I call the shots, right? Another interview, well, my new manager would have told me not to do that fight after the bite. How would I know any better? I'm just a fighter. I need somebody to tell me I can't do it. So, do you want to be your own boss? You want somebody to guide you? Like, well, what? I don't think Tim really knows. I think he's just going through the motions right now, which is maybe understandable because he's I don't think he expected to be where he is right now in terms of coming off the loss of Pandora that I thought he was going to win. He didn't win. But we are where we are. I just personally don't like Lyndon. I this is just me. I didn't like the announcement. He's like, oh, I just wanted my fans to know first. Tim, we all know at the same time. It's on social media. Yeah. Like this is not like what do you mean? Like the moment you announce it, everyone knows now, right? And he's like, I wanted my fans to know first. I'm going to make some changes. I've done a lot of thinking, blah 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 blah. And then there's pre-announcements, announcements, and then he's doing interviews with the guys that ended up being his new advisors, and so it to me, I just don't like the overdoing it of it. I don't know a lot about the guys he's working with. I'm sure they're good at what they do, and I'm sure they'll do a great job. I just think at this point, Tim has put a lot of unnecessary pressure on them, on himself, because now he's got to deliver, right? If it's now he has to deliver now. But by the way, this is the way I'm looking at it.
I think he is, I was going to say, a little bit confused in his place in the world at the moment. Now, as far as his team, the new team goes, I mean, a lot of your viewers probably won't know too much about them. I had his new manager, Mike Altimore, actually had on my show last week for a chat. And I've known Mike for a long, long time and dealt with him on my promotions as well. He's a very, very knowledgeable guy, very, very well connected. He's a very, very good fit for a new manager, I suppose. Although I will say that I was surprised he didn't go to the States for a whole brand new team to wipe the slate clean and try and get out of the Aussie bubble, I suppose, if you want to call it that. So I was surprised that, but he couldn't have gotten anyone better in Australia if he wanted an Australian manager. That's fine. Darcy Ellis is an interesting one because he's he's been billed as the manager, but he's as far as I can understand, the assistant to Mike. Now, he is the son of Lester Ellis, who was the IBF 130-pound champion back in 1985, and is a real legend over here in Australia. He's got his own chain of boxing gyms and knows his stuff. And, of course, Jeff Enix on there as the mentor and advisor. So I was a little bit taken aback with the team that he enlisted, but more so I was surprised, like he said, with what was coming out of Tim's mouth. He seemed to contradict himself a few times, and I just think he's a little bit confused, as I said. I thought the whole concept of having a manager was to have someone in place to actually help make the decisions for you. And he seems to have thrown all that out and says, well, I'm the man. I should have been making the decisions. Well, why have a manager in the first place? So, look, I don't know. I just think, I don't know. I think he's trying. Well, what's the right way to describe it? I think he's just a guy who is trying to come to terms with and grasp that he's lost 3 out of his last 4 and just really can't work out why. And I think that's the sort of impression that I get listening to him talk, is that I just think he's still struggling to get his head around it. That maybe he hasn't been as good as what he maybe thought he was. He gets consistently praised here in Australia. He cannot do a thing wrong. So maybe that, in conjunction with the rest of the world, what they're saying, and it's just these two worlds colliding. I just don't think he knows where he sits, and that's why we're getting all these conflicting little interviews or comments that he makes. So I don't know. We will see. I suppose that's the end result, isn't it? We will see. He's going to be over in the States. I think he leaves today to go over there for a couple of months to have meetings with those 5 trainers he's looking at over there, and then I suppose the proof will be in the pudding, won't it?
Yeah. I couldn't find where the 5 trainers are, but
yeah, the 5 they are. I'll let you know right now. Actually,
okay. You got it. Okay.
Yep. I did a story about this the other day. Hang on, I'll just have to bring it up.
This is remember I remember Anthony Joshua was doing this. Like he was going
Yep.
to the U.S. He was kind of going gym to gym.
I
I
can't
didn't
believe he
really
went
have
with Robert Garcia in the end. I mean, it just didn't make a lot of sense. But anyway,
yeah,
one fight together.
one fight together, and I mean, I don't think it didn't really work out because Robert has a whole gym, whole stable of fighters with world champions. Leaving to train over there in the UK just wasn't going to work for him, right?
Yep.
Long term, AJ had to at some point go to the Robert Garcia Academy, and I think AJ is just too big of a name, I guess, to be doing that, right? So
Yeah, well, it didn't last long, did it? Anyway, where was it? I'll just hang on. I've just bring it up on my computer here. Sorry about this. All right, here we go. The team is, I should know this off the top of my head. The Fab Five, they're being called over here in Australia. We've got Kevin Cunningham is one. Ismail Salas is the other one. Pedro Diaz, Rudy Hernandez, and Abel Sanchez. They are the five that he's going to meet with in the States. So, of course, Pedro Diaz trained Cotto, of course. Ismail Salas has had many very, very good fighters. Rudy Hernandez is what trains Junto Nakatani. In Cunningham, I'm not sure who he trains at the moment, but then Abel Sanchez.
Salas, one thing I'll say about Ismail Salas, I mean, in recent time, I don't know if a trainer's had so many massive upsets in recent years like Ismail Salas. I mean, just crazy. And I do like the idea of Abel Sanchez. I do think he would mesh well with a style like Tim Tszyu's. Whether he ultimately go with him, I don't know. Abel Sanchez worked with Triple G. So,
well, strangely enough, we talked about Manny Robles. I actually think he would be a good fit for Tim Tszyu as well. I mean, I know it's one thing to say, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, maybe Robert Garcia. You've still got to be able to have the chemistry together. And my gut feel that I don't think that would sort of mesh that well together. I mean, Robert Garcia has had so much success, but with more Mexican and American fighters. Right. I'm not sure the style of Tim Tszyu would sort of suit the way Robert Garcia trains. Likewise, maybe people have talked about Freddie Roach. Maybe Freddie, with his illness, might be a little bit past it now. I think Abel Sanchez is a really good fit because he's worked so closely with Triple G. Triple G, obviously, he's Kazakhstan, same sort of, similar sold, I suppose, to Tim Tszyu. And he works so well with him.
It comes from that Soviet tree. I mean,
yeah. So, I mean, there's even some left field talk about someone like Bomac or someone like that. Or who knows? But this is what they're going over there for, to see who they have the best chemistry with. So let's just hope he gets it right.
Well, look, are you surprised? Because I know Jeff Fenn. I know he's the advisor. I have a theory. Did he hire him as an advisor so he could quit trying to say he should be the trainer? Like,
pretty much. I think Jeff would have done anything to actually be the trainer, and I'm surprised that maybe he hasn't thrown his hat in the ring. But yeah, this is the strange thing with Jeff. You know, he's very, very outspoken here in Australia. I mean, we all love him, but he's very outspoken. He's made no secret of the issues that he had with Tim's previous team. He called them all a bunch of clowns and said they all should walk in with clown noses on and all this sort of stuff. But I think maybe he won't get well, he's probably sick of getting criticized by Jeff. So I thought, we'll just bring him on board and he can be an advisor. I don't know. But look, no one knows boxing better than Jeff Fennick. And I think he's good to have sort of out there in an advisory role. I'm not quite sure he's actually got an official role, but he is there as that mentor type of figure for Tim. You got to remember too, Jeff's known Tim since he's been a baby. Because Kostya obviously was based in Australia. Him and Jeff were gym mates, very good friends. So he's seen him come up. So he has got a relationship with him. So maybe that's why he's been brought on board. But again, we'll see what happens as a result of what they're doing.
I was not surprised that, and I'm sure it was hard for Tim because it's his uncle, but yeah. I'm not surprised he switched trainers. I'm not surprised, in fact, I was wondering why it was taking so long, if I'm honest. I just thought it was time to switch, but I am surprised that he switched managements, and I don't know how it's looking with No Limit, but I don't see like No Limit really involved with any of this. Like I'm just noticing they're usually on everything Tim Tszyu, anything Zoo, like they're on it. And I've just little things I've noticed. You know, I've gone to the likes on the post. The Rose Brothers aren't liking the post. The No Limit promotion isn't liking it. I also noticed that Tim unfollowed a lot of people. He wasn't following a lot of people, so it was easy to kind of tell who's following, not following now. Not surprising to see who he unfollowed, but I did notice the certain people he unfollowed. Do you think he's going to stay with No Limit if and when his contract expires?
I think what No Limit are doing at the moment is playing it very, very, very safe. I think, Tim has just lopped off the heads of his whole team. They would be the next obvious targets to say, well, we've got rid of this team. Let's make sure the promoters. I know he's in contract, but I think they're playing it safe by saying, hey, we're not going to say anything. We're just going to stay right out of this and just say, hey, Tim, you have our support. But I would not be surprised if once his contract comes up with No Limit that he's out of there as well. I think he's got another year or two to go. I would think if he wasn't contracted now, he'd be out of there as well and be signing with someone overseas, or I'm not sure. But look, No Limit are still the number one promoters in Australia. They've got the TV contract, so it obviously makes sense to still be with them. But as I said, I think if they didn't have the contract, he would have walked away from them as well. And I think they've made a very, very good decision by just doing this and saying nothing and just saying we will support Tim in whatever he does. But I'm with you though, D-Style. I think, and I've said this to Glenn myself, I think he was, as much as I'm a very, very good friend of Mike Altamura, I think Glenn was really, really hard done by in the whole thing. And especially from what I've sort of heard that the way it was done, I don't really condone that either. I understand he's got to make the decisions for himself, and that's great. But as I said, I think the way I heard he went about doing it was not the way to treat someone that's been with you for a long, long time and given their heart and soul to you. So I just think, I mean, the only thing Glenn is guilty of, in my humble opinion, is giving Tim every single thing that he wanted. He wanted the world title shots. He got it. He wanted a world title shot straight after losing to Fundora. He got it. Even after the Murtazalia of disaster, he had one tune-up fight and he got another shot at a world title. I don't know much what else Glenn Jennings could have done for Tim Tszyu, but obviously it's
because I guess some of the things, because look, Tim isn't explicitly saying things, right? But he's implicitly saying things.
He's saying things by actions, not by words.
Yeah, but even in the things he says, like, so when he says something like when I got bitten by the dog, of course I'm going to fight. I'm a fighter. But my new manager would have told me not to fight, and that's the type of person I need. Well, then I know what you're saying, right? Like you don't have to say, like you're implying very strongly something, right? But my thing is this, right? I mean, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. It's easy to look back now and say, oh, maybe I should have done that. Like at the end of the day, if Tim didn't want to fight, there wouldn't have been a fight. If Tim said, I can't fight like this, right? You were obviously cleared by a doctor, it wouldn't happen, right? But you could have easily, it's this whole idea that, oh, I'm a fighter. Of course I'm going to fight. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I need somebody to tell me no, right? Would you have really not fought? If Glenn Jennings didn't insist that you don't fight, are you sure you wouldn't have fired him? Are you sure you wouldn't have threatened to get rid of him if he stops you from fighting? Like, it's easy now to point out these things, right? But I think you're right. I think Tim got all the things that he wanted. He always was his own boss.
Yeah, of course, right? He was.
This idea, I'm my own boss now. I think it's a little. That's the one thing I just strongly disagree with him about.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're looking at all those things that have happened over the journey. I've got no doubt, and I have heard things to confirm that, is that with the dog bite, it would have been gone to the hospital. It would have been all right. Okay, what does the doctor think? If the doctor said, yeah, no, it's okay. Well, I'm sure it would have been unanimous all around. Okay, well, the doctor's not concerned. So let's just move on. And he obviously had a really good win in that fight as well. So I don't see what the problem is with it anyway. The Fundora one is the one where he gets the whole team gets the most criticism, of course, because they went from a 5 foot 7'8" Thurman to a 6'6" Southpaw in Fundora, and I get that, but I have no doubt in that situation that the team would have sat down with Tim and said, "Look, mate, this is the situation," and Tim would have said, "Hey, it's my first fight or main event in the States, Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. There is no way I'm going to pull out of this fight. Get me whoever." And they would have said, "Well, Fundora's there," and I got no doubt Tim would have said, "Just get him. I don't care who it is. Put him on." That's the impression
but
I
here's
get
the
from
thing:
that.
it's on camera. PBC caught all that
Is
on
it?
camera,
Okay.
where he said, "Yeah." The moment they told me, I said, "Yes, of course, yeah, let's do it." Like
Yep.
that's what he said when he said his promoter called him, right?
Mm.
So it was offered and he took it,
Yep.
right?
And then it's
I
the
mean,
manager's fault. So yeah, I'm with you. Look, I think all the team have a certain role to a certain point. Now, of course, the promoter's job is to put the shows on. The trainer's job is to get them in condition. The manager's job is to get them the opportunities that they're after. But when it comes down to that situation, I think the end call comes really from the fighter to say, well, the manager obviously can give their own opinion. Glenn would probably say, I got no doubt, well, mate, you know, we're going from 5'8" to 6'6". What do you want to do? I got no doubt Tim would, and like you just said, it's on camera. I didn't see that, but Tim would have said, hey, my first headliner in Las Vegas, there is no way in hell I'm pulling out of this. Just put on whoever you want and I'm going to fight. Because at that stage, Tim was the up-and-coming superstar. He was pushing for pound. He was about to move to Las Vegas. It was all about to happen. So he would have almost considered himself invincible. Fundora coming off the loss to Mendoza would have said, hey, bring it on. If Mendoza knocked him out, I'm going to do the same. So just put him in there. But now, in hindsight, it's suddenly Glenn Jennings' fault that he took the fight. The Murtazalia fight, I have no doubt whatsoever that Glenn and the team would have went to Tim and said, hey, we've got the world title opportunity. What do you think? You know, it might be a bit too soon. I got no doubt Tim would have said, hey, it's a world title fight. Just put him in there. And I think a lot of fans were the same. We all thought that Murtazaliev was the weakest of the champions at 154. And I still remember here in Australia, people patting Tim's team on the back saying, oh, what a great job you've done, coming off the Fundora fight that we all know he would have won if it wasn't for the cut.
Now here's a concerning part about that. And you reminded me about something. And Tim mentioned this in one of his interviews. He said that he had no clue about the rehydration clause for the IBF, right? He said his team told him like a couple of weeks or like right before the fight.
4 weeks, I think it was, yeah.
And he said, hand on heart, I would not have taken that fight if I knew. Well, I mean, it's easy to say that now. Is that true? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that one is hard to think, but I will say this though, like, how do you not know? Like, I know, like you don't know that, that's. I am surprised by the things fighters don't know sometimes. I'm like, you don't know that? Like, this is your sport. Like, what do you mean you don't know?
Well, yeah, I mean, we probably assume that they follow the sport like we do. I mean, all the fans know about the rehydration clause. How can not the fighter know?
But in my interview with Glenn Jennings, when that fight was first announced, I would have to go back and double check, but I'm pretty certain I asked him about that, and they knew about that. It's hard to believe he wouldn't have told Tim. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe that kind of passive. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Oh, look, who knows? Look, if that was the case, and obviously that is a breakdown of communication between the team, but, you know, I'm staggered that, someone didn't tell Tim, and Tim just didn't know anyway, that all of us fans do, like I said. But you know, with the Murtazalia fight, I have no doubt that Tim would have said, bring him on. No drama. You know, the fans welcomed it. It went pear-shaped, so all of a sudden it's the manager's fault. I think the common theme through all of this has been that everyone's to blame except Tim. No one has put any blame on Tim at all. Now, the guy is nearly 30 years old and his own man and been around the sport since he's been a kid. But all of a sudden he's totally innocent in the whole thing. I just don't understand it. And I got no doubt he would have been very active in everything to do with his career, but all of a sudden, because it didn't go that well for him, then all of a sudden it's nothing to do with Tim, it's all to do with the team. And I'm not just saying this because like yourself, you know, I know Glenn really well and have many conversations with him, but I just think you've got to pick your targets about where we're laying blame. And look, I think as a group collective, And look, I suppose again, it's all in the past now. We can all debate about who was right and who was wrong. End of the day, he's made the call, and now he's going to have to measure up.
Do you think? Because I've always thought about Tim, like being a guy that doesn't really pay that much attention to what online chatter. I always like assume that about him. I don't know because he's a zoo. I don't know, like whatever. But I just think all that got to him. I think maybe, and I remember media asking him questions, and especially American media, and kind of alluding to like his team and reminding him about the criticisms of the team, and I just think that just overwhelmed him, and I think he just started thinking. I don't know if he got paranoid or something, and he started thinking, yeah, you know what, they did screw me over. Yeah. You know what, I shouldn't have fought. Like he maybe, I think he read that in a comment somewhere. Like what? Yeah, I can't believe they had him fight after he got bit by a dog, and it probably just stuck in his head. And I think that's what it is. So.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, is I have no doubt. Again, I know I've said no doubt a lot in the last 10 minutes, but I have no doubt that the tornado or cyclone, whatever you might want to call it, of the Tszyu hype in Australia was out of control, and I think Tim got caught up in that as well. Now, I know a lot of fans over there, they have so many fighters they follow, and don't really get caught up with it. Well, here in Australia, we only have, I think someone just asked before, how many world champions we have. We only got one at the moment. Who asked that? Was it Janita? Was it? Janito, there it is. We've got one male world champion at the moment in Jaya Pataya. But I think he got, because we don't have a lot of world champions, a lot of those elite fighters to really follow on an ongoing basis. Tim has just been the biggest star that we've seen probably since his father, and Jeff Fennick before that as well. And I just think he got caught up in the whole thing as well. The press over here is just, it's ridiculous about how much they get behind Tim, and it's great in one respect because he's made a lot of money, he's a household name, but the pressure and expectations that they've put on Tim and his fans has just been ridiculous. And I just think Tim got caught up in the whole Tszyu hype train. I really do. And then when it all went pear-shaped, grasping for reasons about why it all derailed, and I think it was just easy to blame his team. They weren't at fault when they got him the world title shot in the first place. They weren't at fault when he made, had all these international fights come over and he's knocking them out. It was all great then, but as soon as he couldn't perform at the elite level, all of a sudden it's the rest of the team's fault. So I've got no dramas again with him wanting to start afresh after 3 losses in 4 fights, but let's just be careful where we're laying the blame, just in my opinion anyway.
And I remember he was like hell bent on coming right back, after the cut. And if those that need their memory refreshed, he was going to fight Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And guess what? His team had him checked out, and the doctor said, "No, sir, you cannot fight.
Mm-hmm.
You're not ready." Right?
Yep.
And he was so upset about it, yada, yada, yada. So I don't want to hear, if I had a real team, they wouldn't let me go in. No, like there was cases where you were not allowed to go fight, right? So that's just how I feel about it. I just think, to close out this, there's nothing wrong with switching managers, switching teams. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like at all. But just do it. Everyone else just does it. Like, I have no idea. Like when fighters make changes to their management, sometimes I'll just be like, "Oh, he's not a manager anymore. Okay, he's got this guy now. All right." Like it's just, sometimes it's not even like, he's bad for me or whatever. I just need a change. I can respect that. I really can. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe if that's all it was, that's fine. But I just think he's just talking too much.
But this is the level of his profile in Australia, though, where he needed to make the announcement before the announcement came, because that's, people talk so much, and as I said, the expectations are so much on Tim that's the sort of identity he is here in Australia as a sporting icon, I suppose, is that he had to make the announcement before the announcement. I know over there probably doesn't make sense, but here, then what happened after that little Instagram post came out, everyone was waiting with bated breath about what was going to happen next. And, that's a level of his profile. And the thing is too, I mean, we've talked about his, I've spoken about his managerial and promotional team. I think didn't do a lot wrong. But I do still agree that the in-ring team should have been replaced, and I did support that because I think it was really evident in the 3 losses that he had a lot of flaws out there. And I think it might have been actually our old mate Batman there. How are you, Batman? The criticism, not knowing the rules, in the Fundora fight, and that is 100% correct. Because from reports I've heard this as well, that the team in the corner didn't know that about the 4-round decision being a no contest and all the rest of it.
Why do I refuse to believe that?
Yeah, well, this is apparently what they're saying. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's don't say anything. Like, it's just how I feel about it. Like, it's kind of with Tim with the dog thing. Don't say anything, bro. Or like, I was thinking about switching teams before the Harrison fight. Like, bro, like, you don't have to say everything you were thinking. Like, you know what I mean? We all think things, and we look back, and I don't know. Look, there's a lot of Johnny come latelys and Anderson after the facts out there that are experts, and everyone's a great manager after the fact. Right? You should have known about Murzali. Why the hell you fight that guy? He's a big, dangerous Russian, and like, you know what I mean. Everyone knows after the fact, right?
And the thing is too, it's like the coach of a sporting team. When they're winning, it's all about the players, and when they lose, it's all about the coach. So same instance here where he was winning. Oh, what a great job everyone's doing. When he lost those fights, it's all on them now. So you can't win.
Yeah, in the end, when Tim says, "I'm going to be my own boss now," I think he's giving himself a mental reset, right? Moving forward, it's on me. Like, no, those were on you too, Tim. Right? Those were on you as well. Like, it's just what it is, because the boxing ring is a chamber of truth at the end of the day. Like, it is what it is, bro. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with changes, but one more thing I want to say about this. Shout out to Nikita, who very bluntly told Glenn, "You got sacked." But it did kind of lighten up the mood, I think.
Yeah, and it did. Yeah, no, it did. And I think Glenn I think he probably needed that little bit of humor, I think, to make him feel better. Because I think the timing of it wasn't great either, by the way. I think it was the night before Paro's fight with who did he fight? I
forget the name of it. That was a tough fight too.
It was a really tough fight with the Frenchman. But Papo was his name. But and the timing just wasn't great. And I think the day before those two guys fought, why would you drop it when the day before your brother's going to have his big comeback fight? It's a big no limit show. His promoter. I don't really understand that. But one thing before we move on to Diesel, you talk about with Tim saying now he's his own boss and everything else. Don't read too much in that either, because I know the Mike Altamura I know is not the type of manager that is just going to come on board just to be ordered around. He's a very experienced manager. He's going to make the hard calls, and so this is another, in my mind, a little bit of a contradiction with Tim saying that, because as I said, Mike is not the type of guy that is going to let a fighter order him around and bring him on as a yes man. It's just not the way he rolls. So he's the type of guy who would say, "Here's my advice. You take it or leave it, but this is my opinion and my advice." So everyone out there thinking that Tim's now going to be running his own show 100%, it's wrong, because Mike he's been brought on to do a job, and he's going to do it to his best ability.
Which makes sense. That's why you hire the manager, right? I mean, But I just think, you know what? Maybe it's just that's like a new age boxer thing. They all like to say they're their own boss. I don't know, it's something they like to say, like, "I'm my own boss." It's it started with Mayweather, and it just kind of became a thing, I guess. Maybe that's what that is. You know what I mean?
And the difference with Mayweather as well, though, when you think about it, he knew the game or knows the game inside and out. He knows if it's not worth knowing, he doesn't know. He just is the guru as far as the sport goes, and if you're not as educated as he is, then of course things aren't going to go to plan.
Carlos says if Tim wants to be protected, he should just hire a tanks team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Imagine Floyd would have just not put him in there in any of those situations.
Or Boots Ennis.
You know, like Floyd Mayweather would have been saying, "Tim ain't gonna fight that guy. He'd bring nothing to the table. What do you bring to the table?" You know, but look, his dad was lost brutally, right? Made no excuses. And he just came back and he just did it.
Yep.
That's it. Like that, at the end of the day, that's what you do when you lose. You pick yourself up, and if you need to make changes, you make them. Right.
Mm.
I think those are in-house things they should take care of in-house. I just don't. Maybe it is because he's a big star in Australia, but it was a bit much for me. I'll tell you that. That's coming from a Tszyu fan. It was okay, bro. We get it.
Yeah.
You're making a lot of changes. We get it. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yep.
So,
Agreed.
well, one more thing here. Not surprising. Triple G's on the ballot. I think he's going to get in for the Hall of Fame. Surprising was Vernon Forrest was just put on the ballot.
Mm.
Who
was the other one? Steve Collins, I think, wasn't it? Was the other one?
Steve Collins is in the ballot as well. I think we got 3 names. I got to double check for the other names that are still pending on the ballot, but I don't think any of those are going to get in. But I think there's a reason they report on those 3. But Vernon Forrest, barely on the
would have thought he would have been nominated already, wouldn't you? I mean, he's been gone a long time.
Yeah, no, like that's when Gotti passed away, they put him on the ballot, they got him in right away. And look, I loved Gotti. I never felt he should have been in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, I'm not mad about it, but I just think, especially not for his ballot, they got him in quick. Vernon Forrest, who was unfortunately murdered when they were trying to carjack him, and sometimes people just gotta let them take the stuff. You could always replace that, right? Yep. But unfortunately, he was taken from us by someone. He was trying to, not let somebody carjack him, and they ended up murdering him. And but I mean, Vernon Forrest, a great welterweight, amazing jab, beat an undefeated Shane Mosley, who was just coming off a win over De La Hoya not long before that, and beat him twice. Yeah, backed it up. He lost against Mora, but he came back and he won the rematch with a statement. His career ended short. I think he's Hall of Fame material, but that's my opinion. Triple G definitely. I think Collins gets him too.
Yeah. No, it's a good what do they call alumni, whatever they call them. They're going to it's and Triple G. So it's now back to 3 years. Is it? It was 5 years at one stage, wasn't it?
It was. Well, it should still be 5 years.
I think so too. I think 3 years is way too early.
Way too early. Way too early. But okay. But it's 3 years now. And I think those 3 names are going to get in.
Yeah. Well, who was it this year? It was Pacquiao and Pazienza, wasn't it? Which would have been a good one to be at. Yeah,
but then Pacquiao's back. I mean,
he's got a fight scheduled as he's being inducted. So look, I don't know. I reckon I'm not sure whether you agree, but I reckon even up to 10 years would probably be the best way, before you get in. I mean, it's probably about 10 years before I think fans really reflect on a fighter's career. I mean, 5 years, it's because 5 years goes like that. And I just think it's a little bit too early. I understand they need people to come through every year, but surely they can find 3 or 4 people every year, even if it was 10 years. I mean, so many fighters over the years that have done great things, and I think,
3 years is way too soon. But it is what it is. Anywhere 5 to 10 years is fine with me, to be honest. Because if you're Hall of Fame, the same with the girls, 3 years, but it's 2.
3 years.
But two's too many for the women. They already ran out of women. Like they're thinking about getting that girl Hammer on the Hall of Fame. Like what? Okay, now we're getting out of control here. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, one good thing about the years coming up, I mean, there's going to be some very, very good women to induct. I mean, obviously, there's going to be Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Baumgardner, Michaela Mailer.
Cecilia Braekhus just retired after she won one more belt and she retired. She's definitely Hall of Fame material.
Yeah.
And she'll get in. I just think the women should be 1 though.
Yeah, I agree.
1. There's not enough talent. There's not enough of them. Like it's if you do 2 every year, you're gonna run out of women to induct. I mean, I'm just saying. But well, what a class. Triple G. Well, I think he's a Hall of Famer, but
100%.
I mean, even though he had a great career, but it should have been a better career. It's just that a lot of these guys weren't fighting him. Like Sergio didn't fight him, Cotto didn't fight him. I just I don't like it when people accuse Canelo of ducking him because Canelo came in and he fought him, right? Canelo was in a weight class below him, moved up. He beat Cotto, and like 18 months later, he was fighting Triple G. I mean,
and then fought him straight away with the controversy of the first fight. Fought him straight away, and then even gave him another shot after that. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah. But I think he gets in. Great career, great amateur career. He's an ambassador right now for the World Boxing, and now they're officially part of the IOC. So boxing will stay as an Olympic sport. So yeah, there you go. Vernon Forrest, I think, gets in as well, and Collins gets in. I think we already had the class of 2026, to be honest.
Yeah. It's a great weekend there. I think I've said on here before. I went there in 2022 for the trilogy when they had all the, because of COVID, they had 3 years in a row. One of the best experiences I've ever had. Going to
Christy Martin was
Canastota.
in that one, right?
Who's that? Sorry,
Christy Martin was there.
Yeah, she was there. Yeah, I'm not sure she got inducted. She was already in there, but I just remember there was Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr., Miguel Cotto.
No, but she was one of the, like, I think the first class, and because I interviewed her, and
okay,
before like it all got canceled because of COVID.
Okay, yeah,
and she was like emotional because her brother passed away, and he wasn't able to see her get inducted, because of having to wait and all that. But so I know, like, she was like a big deal because she was like the first woman inducted, right? I think her pioneer. Yeah, and I think but that's a great
movie. The movie coming out soon too. I see with is it Sydney Sweeney in there, which would be great tribute to her. That'll be great.
Yeah, she has her story is like out of this world. Like it's Christy Martin's story is something else. My favorite class of recent years, anyway, was when it was Mike Tyson, Julio Cesar Chavez, and Kasha Tszyu.
Wow,
like,
is that the year? Was it? Wow.
Yeah, I remember when it was those three. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
Like Chavez is in, and Mike Tyson's headline because it's Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great one right there. And Kasha obviously got inducted in that one, so that was something else. So
it's an awesome weekend. And if anyone out there watching has thought about going, you should go. I mean, it's only Canastota is just for me as an outsider, just that typical small little American country town in the middle of nowhere. I think the population is 2,000 or 3,000 people on a normal sort of day there, and just the parade and just getting around. It's a tiny little place. The Hall of Fame's only really, really small, but to be there that weekend, it really was a dream come true for me. And to see so many, great champions inducted, it really was a bucket list moment for me. And as I said, if anyone out there is thinking about going, you should go, because even if your favorite fighters aren't actually being inducted themselves, there's a wave of previous greats that always get there to go in the parade and the dinner and all that sort of stuff. So, and get up close to personal to pretty much anyone that's there. It's a really, really good weekend.
I mean, yeah, I've never been there, so I got to head out there one of these days.
It's a bit of a hike, but it's worth it.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean? Well, look, it's been one more thing, Lyndon. We never had a chance to talk about this, and I just think it was like crazy to me. But two things actually. One, Pacquiao shocked the hell out of me. I mean, I was watching that fight, and I'm thinking to myself, Barrios, you're the young guy. You're the put some gas on it. But it hit me like, well, that's just how he fights, I guess. But Manny Pacquiao, I mean, he's old, mid-40s, and he's. I thought he won the fight.
So did I. Yeah, so did I.
Like, he should have been like the oldest welterweight champion of all time. He should already have that, right? And I don't know if Floyd Mayweather got inspired by it or something, but now he's talking about he might come back.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's older than Barrios. He's almost 50. I mean, I don't understand. I think he's looking at a Barrios or Raleigh and he's saying to himself, I could beat those guys, right?
I think he would actually. I think
I
he
do
would.
too. No, I do too. But then, like, you never know, man. Like,
Mm.
if somebody would have told me Macho Camacho's going to knock out Ray Leonard, I would have laughed at them,
Mm.
right? But then it happened because Ray had nothing left, right?
Mm.
So how sad would it be if he comes back and Rolly Romero's knocking out Floyd Mayweather? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I agree with you. I actually do think he could pull it off. I just don't know if
Mm.
it's worth it. You know, it's how I feel.
I don't think it's worth it. I look and look. I am critical of Mayweather fighting Tyson, but I mean, if you still got that itch to scratch, then why not fight each other legends of the sport? But yeah, isn't it funny though that this is what boxing sort of is at the moment, where we're talking about these type of fights and YouTube fights and all the rest of it, and we should be talking about the the big fights that are still to be made, but. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, well, now it's going to be Pacquiao and Romero, I think, in January, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I reckon Pacquiao can beat him as well.
probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I completely forgot about Boots. By the way, it's not. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I think Boots is going to easily win this fight.
I forgot it was even on.
Yeah, but look, I don't know. This guy that is fighting Lima, come forward. He's a grinder. Two things have stood out to me while watching this fight. He's too slow for Ennis, right? And he's got good power, but I don't know. I just think Ennis in the box circles around him, probably hurt him and knock him out late. That's what I think's gonna happen.
But isn't that funny too, though, when it comes to Boots Ennis? I mean, a lot of these fighters are getting criticisms for not fighting certain fighters and taking risks. And Boots Ennis is going to 154 and probably the deepest division in boxing, and he fights this guy. I don't know. I don't understand why Boots Ennis is not getting more criticism and feedback from a lot of fans, because I think it's a cherry pick. You're right, Lima. He's tough, but he's no hope of beating Boots Ennis. So why aren't we getting stuck in the Boots Ennis like we do with Canelo and everyone else out there for not taking these fights when, as I said, it's the deepest division in boxing? And talk about being protected. Why wouldn't you back yourselves to go up to 150? Especially this guy fights once a year or whatever it is anyway. Why are we wasting, up to a year of Boots Ennis's career by fighting this guy? I just don't understand it. Unless they've got a quick turnaround plan for him. But the fight to me makes no sense whatsoever. Make the move, that's great. But geez, in yesteryear, when the champions went up in weight, it was always to fight for another belt most of the time. And if you're the profile of someone like a Boots Ennis, he should have been able to get a world title fight pretty much straight away, and he's chosen to fight this guy. So pretty poor form from me, I think.
Yeah, those were fair criticisms. According to Virgil's team, they offered him to fight. Nothing. Crawford's come out and said, "Hey, we wanted to fight Boots. Nothing came of it." Right.
Phil Murtazalia would have put up his hand too if he wanted the IBF belt.
Yeah. So like it's especially with I get he's his promoter, he's got to do it, but with the hype that Hearn puts behind him, right? And Eddie Hearn still has the goal to come out and be like, oh yeah, Virgil's tailor made for Boots. It's easy work. So if it's easy work, why don't you just do it?
Yeah, and I love Eddie, but for him to talk up Boots Ennis the way he does, and then throw him in the ring with someone like Lima, again, makes no sense to me. And it shows a lack of confidence in your fighter, especially when you got Murtazalia out there saying, I'll take on all comers, let's go. And the IBF will probably sanction Boots Ennis to fight him. Understand Fundora's out of action, and who else is, and obviously the WBA belt's only just changed hands, but there would have been that world title fight there for him if he wanted it. I'm sure there would have been plenty of other contenders there, top contenders to fight him, and he's chosen to fight Lima. Just doesn't reek of confidence, I don't think.
Yeah, Eddie's out here selling wolf tickets, but it doesn't mean I don't think Boots could beat a lot of these guys, though.
I think he beats nearly all of them.
Yeah, but I could think whatever I want to think. He's got to go and do it, and I don't know, the Jimmy Cowleys and whoever the hell he's been fighting, just ain't cutting it. Like, you know what I mean? The Karens and I'm kind of over all that at this point. We know he's talented. We know he's got potential. Like, you know what I mean? Let's see him test that talent. And next year, at some point, I want to see Virgil versus Boots at some point.
Oh, it's the biggest fight at 154, isn't it? Arguably, you might throw Fundora in there, but still, I mean, it's the most attractive fight anyway. And let's hope Murtazaliev gets himself going as well and gets some pace on his career as well, because he's got some big fights out there for him as well. But you just get the impression that Murtazaliev is going to be one of those fighters that'll be avoided and will never really get that big fight that he's chasing, and they'll all fight each other, and no one will want to touch him. But either way, and you got Zayas out there as well. We forgot about Xander Zayas as well. So
yeah, we got Xander who like dudes want to fight, but I think Xander right now he's a good fighter. Xander, I like him, but he needs to calm down with the way he's hyping himself up, at this point. But we'll see where he goes from here. With that said,
as you guys say,
yeah. So, any final words, Lyndon, before we wrap this one up?
No, all good from this end. Yep, make sure you subscribe to Boxing Deep Dive. We've got our live show tonight, but really enjoy coming on here, mate, and talking boxing and with your viewers in the chat as well. So let's hope we've got a big end of the year. We've got a few big shows coming up, so hopefully it ends with a bang.
Absolutely, we've got a lot of great fights coming. It's been a couple slow weeks, but we'll get through it as always. Have a good one, Lyndon. And
you too, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Peace.
See you, mate.